All I wanted was to beautify my home, nothing more. But what I got will leave you speechless. Story time. I moved into this furnished apartment. Everything looked nice, except from the hallway, which looked empty. So I thought to myself, it would be nice to give it some touchings. I started buying things I needed for the decoration. One day, I came across this stylish standing mirror from Facebook Market, selling at just £20. It looked so beautiful, exactly what I needed for my hallway. I quickly messaged the vendor. She responded almost immediately. She said, "Can you pick it up today? Because I'm traveling first thing tomorrow morning." I said, "Okay." So I rushed to her address and picked it. When I came back, I hung it in my hallway facing my bedroom. Anybody that comes to my house must compliment the mirror. Admiring how beautiful it looked, I will always smile. What I didn't know was that smile was going to turn to tears in a short time. Few days after I bought this mirror, strange things started happening to me. One day, I came back from work, tired and hungry. As I walked past the mirror, I saw my reflection wearing a red beret. I paused, touched my head. There was no beret on my head. I went back to the mirror. I still see myself on beret. I just waved it, thinking that I was just seeing things out of hunger and tiredness. The next day, I was arranging the house. When I got to the mirror side, I looked at it. Guys, was I not supposed to see my reflection staring back at me? Exactly. Now tell me why I would see my friend in a full black outfit, crying beside a coffin. I freaked out, fell on the ground. I ran to my room, grabbed my phone and called my friend, asking her if everything was fine. She sounded bubbling, and in fact, she told me she was on vacation in another country enjoying her life. That enjoyment didn't last long, because at exactly 7 days later, my friend lost her sister. During her burial, guess what, guys? My friend wore exactly that black clothes she wore in the mirror. Also, she was crying beside the same coffin and in the same position, exactly the way I saw it in the mirror. After my friend's sister's burial, I realized that something was definitely weird about that mirror. It showed me something before it happened. Or was it in my dream? I couldn't remember how it happened. I just said to myself, stop overthinking. It was just a dream. But my mind couldn't rest. So I bought a mirror cover and covered the mirror, even tied it with a rope before leaving for work. By the time I came back, the mirror was uncovered. The cover and the rope were on the floor. I was shocked. There was no way it could be breezed because the windows were closed and there was no one else in the house except me. So how come? I thought maybe I wanted to cover the mirror but forgot to do it and hurriedly left for work. So I just brushed it off, bent over to pick the cover and the rope from the floor. Then I noticed something scary. Tell me why my reflection would stand still and didn't bend when I bent over. I panicked. As I stood there looking at my reflection in the mirror, again, my reflection blinked. Meanwhile, I didn't blink. I started shivering. I waved my right hand, my reflection waved the opposite hand and smiled. Again, I didn't smile. Just to make sure I wasn't dreaming, I jumped up. My reflection stood still and didn't move. I picked Race immediately. But where will I run to at that time of the night? I took a bold step back to the hallway, carried the mirror and locked it inside my garage, spread olive oil and holy water around my house, prayed and then went back to bed. By 3 a.m., I heard a loud noise from my garage. When I checked, the mirror was on the ground, cracked a little. When I looked into the cracked part, I saw 2 red eyes glowing and staring at me. I ran back to my room. The next morning, I called the vendor. I said, "Hello, it's me, the lady that bought mirror." Immediately I mentioned mirror. She took over. "Oh, that mirror. You noticed something, right?" I said, "Something like what?" She continued, "Make sure it doesn't face any of your doors, especially your bedroom door, and don't sleep in front of it." I stood there, dumbfounded. When I ended the call with the mirror vendor, and after hearing what she said, I became even more afraid. That night, it was as if I was in a cold room. I was freezing under hot weather. I felt something hard pressing me down on my bed. I tried to shout, even to call on God's name, but I couldn't. Then I heard a child's voice laughing and echoing from the garage where the mirror was. I went to the garage, stood in front of the mirror. This time, my reflection was wearing all black, and it stood in a casket shop with a casket price tag hanging down my face. Then a voice whispered to me, "Very soon, you will become me now that you've seen me." I woke up, breathing heavily. After I got myself back, I went straight to the garage and without thinking twice, picked the mirror, carried it downstairs to dispose it off the public bin. There I met garbage men picking bins off the street. I approached one of them and begged him to take the mirror along with the garbages. The man looked at the mirror, touched it, and then took a step back. He looked at me and said, "Ma'am, I'm sorry, we can't take this from you." I asked him why. I pay my tax, so I'm entitled to garbage collection. He said again, "Ma'am, I'm sorry. This is not just an ordinary mirror. It's a baggage meant for you." They left. I ran towards them, begging them to please take the mirror. Passers-by thought I was mad or something. After the garbage men left, I carried the mirror to a nearby lake, threw it there and watched it sink before I left. When I got home, I met the mirror hanging in my hallway, the same way I placed it the very first time I bought it. I shouted so loud that it attracted my neighbors. They asked if everything was alright. I tried to explain everything to them, pointing at the mirror. They looked confused and they asked me, "Which mirror?" There is no mirror on the hallway, but I was seeing the mirror clearly. After my neighbors left, I felt so embarrassed and sad. I called the mirror vendor back. This time I shouted at her, "Why would you say something as evil as this to me? This is not fair." She said calmly, "You are not the first, but if you see yourself in full black, you might be the last." After I ended the call, I knew that I'm in for a spiritual battle that I can't fight alone. I decided to seek for a spiritual assistance. I contacted a man of God. He involved his prayer warriors. We fixed a date and time for a prayer. On the fixed date, they came to my house and at exactly 12 a.m. we started praise and worship. After that, we started praying, speaking in tongues. I prayed like never before. At around 3 a.m., I heard a loud scream and a thunderous sound, then a cracked sound from the mirror. This time, it wasn't just only me. Everybody heard it. We went to the hallway. There we saw a headless shadow crawled out of the mirror. Then he spoke with my exact voice, mentioned my name, begging me to open the door. Everybody shouted, "Holy Ghost fire." The pastor used anointed oil around the hallway. The shadow spoke again. "Open the door, let me go. You brought me in, now let me go." I asked it who sent it to me, and the shadow laughed and said, "It was you who bought me and brought me home. I became part of you." We started praying again. One of the prayer warriors asked me to bring salt and egg. I brought them and she threw the items on the mirror. We heard screams of like 1,000 women. The shadow disappeared. The mirror fell on the ground and shattered. Before we could shout, the only thing we saw on the floor was a soaked carpet. That was how the mirror vanished to date. Since this incident happened, I barely looked at mirrors, and I don't think I can ever buy anything from just anybody again. Please beware of what you buy and also who you buy things from. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.